Devil May Cry, one of the most stylish games out there. I love this game to death, honestly, and if you haven't been playing this game already, you're truly missing out. But the good thing is, you came here to see what all the hype around this gem was really about. And this game is a beautiful game. It has a good styling combat system. It's fun to learn the ins and outs of certain enemy types, moves, and abilities when encountering these different enemies. It has a really great atmosphere, like a horror-like presentation in the castle, with being all alone in yourself with the demonic and monster type of enemies, definitely inspired clearly by some horror games. And if you like story, this definitely goes the few miles. It has interesting characters that you end up loving later down the line in other installments. It shows a lot of background in this game itself, especially for the main character Dante. And my favorite part is the amazing challenges from the small puzzles, but mainly the boss fights. They're amazing. It's like playing one of the Soul games on your first run. It's great and challenging, and there's definitely specific ways to even beat some of the bosses for the best type of outcome.
Let's rock, baby.
Hey, how's it going, everybody? It's your boy Tapata here, and let's dive into some DMC, huh? First, let's dive into the combat and the style beneath it. Devil May Cry's gameplay is full of life, has different types of playstyles you can have, and variety within these choices. It's easy to understand the combat since the premise is very simple. You have one button, which is your melee, aka your devil arms. That's what they refer to as, mainly the melee stuff. And the other button will be for your guns. By defeating enemies, standard ones or bosses, or by breaking objects that are breakable in the game, you will gain a thing called red orbs. Using these red orbs will allow you to unlock items at the shop. But more importantly, you will acquire new abilities and skills. The combat really starts to pick off when you start to get these new skills and abilities that can fit your playstyle depending on what you like to do. Besides the usage of these skills, there is one other way that the game keeps the combat feeling fresh, there are other weapons you can collect, aka via Deva arms, that's what they call the melee weapons, and other different types of guns. Some of them will even change, the devil arms of course, your combos, give you different skills that you can use, or even affect an important power that I will discuss in a second. It is important to note all these weapons won't just be given to you, so you might have to look around a few areas to actually find them, but there's definitely quite a bit, and I definitely recommend, trying to find them all, because why not, right? It'd be nice to test them all out. But lastly, I did mention the power that Dante has, so this power he has is called Devil Trigger. Since Dante is part human, part devil, he can access a thing called Devil Trigger. Basically, what this mechanic will do is allow you to dish out more damage and give you health regeneration when using it. Plus, a little bonus in this game is that when you are in this state, it will allow you to use certain skills when you're in your Devil Trigger state. Let's get a bit into the atmosphere of this game, which is truly old school horror-like. It has this creepy, demonic vibe to it, which is good. It can be nice to kind of look around the castle, explore a bit, different parts of the grounds, to see maybe if you could find extra stuff, or maybe you just want to look and see how good the area looks, right? Later on though, you will start to explore different types of areas that will lose this kind of horror-like feel. Which is not bad, but they still look pretty good, but it's whatever, right? You go from basically the castle to a coliseum to an abandoned ship-like area, but that's just to name some. I definitely suggest looking around these places because they are pretty nice, especially for their time being on PS2. I think a lot of the map looks pretty good. But the castle stands out the most. When I first played this game, I was pretty scared. Like, the castle is just so eerie. You get that horror-like vibe. Of course, if you know about Devil May Cry, you did know that the project started as a Resident Evil game. So you can definitely kind of feel that survival horror feel, which is amazing. I love it. Especially at the beginning of the game. It's always nice. Now let's talk about my boy, Dante, because of course we gotta talk about Dante. This game is featuring Dante from Devil May Cry. and Dante is the main character you play as. He could be kind of a calm, collected, cool person. At the same time, he's the type of guy who would mock his opponent, maybe with some style. You might add it in there, just a little bit. He is the son of Sparta. His sword is from his father's, it's his legacy, I guess. Grunt's in the family. And of course, no spoils in this next part, I do want to talk about a little bit of this story. Dante starts his story when he meets a demonic mystery blonde-haired woman. After they fight for a little bit, they start to talk about a location where someone or some figure named Mundus would be. Dante quickly accepts and heads to the castle with her, and this mystery woman named Trish. After the story will basically start giving more information about Dante's past and some of the present stuff occurring through some of the boss fights and enemies, even through Trish too. Later on, you will also encounter some other things that will be tied in with the future games. I definitely recommend trying out some of the future games, but this game is definitely important when it comes down to the story. That is also all I want to say about the story. I do not want to spoil it for any one of you guys who plan to play this game. Now, of course, we could talk about my favorite part, which is the amazing difficulty of this game. I love games that give you a challenge. I played Resident Evil on hardcore because I love it. So when a game like this has challenge, but it's not ridiculous, I enjoy it. And nowadays, it feels like games kind of really lack in this challenge. Like, they kind of hold your hand. It feels like they're slacking. And they're lacking, actually. This game also tends to have a few puzzles, which definitely spices things up. They're not hard, but it's nice to have a few puzzles, you know, the Resident Evil part of it, I guess. But honestly, what the challenge really comes down to probably the enemies. They're really hard. Even the standard ones. I find myself struggling to fight some standard enemies because they have certain ways and certain methods of attacking them that you're going to want to use so you don't take as much damage from fights. But the boss fights are the best part. So these bosses, like, I mean, some of them are pushovers, but a lot of them you have to kind of think, especially on your first run. You have to really think about what you want to do and how you maybe could beat them. Definitely a challenge. I feel like a lot of them usually will have this, sometimes will have a cheap tactic of beating you. Really just OP abilities and just deal a shit ton of damage. Or they change their tactics up. Basically get an advantage because they're playing to win, man. But the game never comes off too hard. You know, it gives you free items, you get strong abilities yourself, just gotta know which ones are the strong abilities. But overall, it's a pretty fair game, but gives a really decent challenge. Of course, I have to go into the replay value because I will never do a talk about a game without giving replay value. I need replay value. If I'm gonna pay money for a game, I want a reason why I should play it after I beat it once, right? So one thing I want to say about the replay value, since this does matter a ton, is that this game doesn't really actually have that much. Like, you could go back, you could do secret missions, which are missions you could do throughout the game. They're hidden, so you have to kind of find them. You could even do this on your first run. But on the replay, you can replay it, look for the secret missions, or just search them up online. And I guess you could do that. And besides that, there isn't really much replay value. A lot of the game is just, I mean, you do unlock harder difficulties. If you beat the hardest difficulty, you unlock Super Dante, which basically is a kind of like a costume that you can use that gives you infinite Devil Trigger. But besides that, there isn't any replay value. That kind of sucks about this game. You just play it on harder difficulty and that's it. But at least you can unlock the other skills, you know, test them all out, which is pretty nice. Now, final thoughts about this game as a whole. So this game as a whole, is it worth playing, right? That's why you came here. Is it worth playing? And I will say, yes. It is a game, if you like games that give you a challenge, if you enjoy a fun combat system, even if it is a bit outdated, which it is, sadly, and you don't mind the PS4 style of graphics, then I think this game is up your alley. Especially like when you play this and then you get into the other installments, you won't fall in love with the series and its characters. Like, this game is worth investing into, especially for the HD collection, because then you also get DMC3, which is the best Devil May Cry game. I don't care what people say about 5. DMC3 is the best one that's out right now. And I definitely recommend, I definitely recommend getting it. This is a good game, it's fun. If you don't want to get it, definitely at least play 3, because 3 is also amazingly better. It has the better combat system to it. I want to thank you all for the support. I appreciate everyone hopping in on this video. If you want more content, make sure to subscribe or check out the other content I provide in the description down below. Otherwise, hope you all stay safe, Chiefs. Peace out.